Are you expecting a new bundle of joy in your life? Ready to settle down and start a family? Well, you gotta give that little booger a name, don't ya? Something just as special as they are. Let me offer you some suggestions. Taylor, McCarthy, Navy, Maylee, Lacken. Oh, wait, you've heard those before? You're saying they aren't special? There have to be more unique names, though. I don't know about you, but baby names are freaking weird now, and I want to talk about it. Hey, I'm Hay, and welcome back to my channel. I make videos about culture, media, random questions I have, and other things that pique my interest, so yeah, thanks for being here. As an aspirational dink, today's video essay topic is easily one of my greatest fears in this good mortal life. Children, particularly naming them. But recently, it seems that the names people are giving their children are becoming increasingly abstract. The conversation around them has only expanded, with entire communities dedicated to sharing them. After all, everyone has a name. Unless you're a Greek hero fighting a cyclops. Then you might be nobody. But unique names, no matter their intention, don't always have the intended results. Children are already prone to tease those with normal names. Those with Pokemon-adjacent pronunciations fare no better. It must also be really difficult for a child to learn to spell their name. As a child, I used to struggle writing John. And I was a former gifted kid, in more ways than one. It must be a challenge for kids learning to spell looking at their own name and going into error mode. And your little one isn't going to be a baby forever. What happens when these children grow up and become adults? While I have a name that can be found on a soda bottle, I can empathize with those who face social stigma and identity struggles with something so personal as their name. I want to analyze the cultural shifts happening within this trend. But first, we need to understand how we got here. Historically, baby naming trends were a bit different. Names were typically conservative, with parents trying not to offend God, grandma, or the local monarch. As a result, most drew inspiration from family lineage or famous figures. An example of family-oriented names was the Tria Nomina, which was the traditional naming system for males in ancient Rome. This system consisted of 3 parts. These translate to the personal name, the clan name, and the family branch or nickname. These together identified an individual's personal, family, and social identity. So when someone introduced themselves, you already knew their rank in society and family connections. As for famous figure names, well, in Europe during the early modern period, that meant religious figures like John the Apostle and the Virgin Mary, as well as royalty like King Henry VIII and Queen Elizabeth I. And when the naming convention is to name your son and daughter after your father and mother, well, it's easy to see why these names reigned supreme. These conventions were so rigid that in the late 1700s, quote, the names William, John, and Thomas accounted for over half of all male baptisms, and Elizabeth, Mary, and Anne accounted for over half of all female baptisms, end quote. But baptismal records will only take us so far. The United States Social Security Administration actually has a really useful database seeing the most popular names per decade. By clicking through the years, we can see how the most popular names go from conservative and traditional to those that, well, aren't. The most recent decade in the database are the 2010s, with the 5 most popular names being Noah, Liam, Jacob, William, and Mason for boys, and Emma, Olivia, Sophia, Isabella, and Ava for girls. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Huh? These are such normal names. Why are you being such a... Yes, these names are indeed socially acceptable, whatever that means. But just because a name is popular doesn't quite mean it's commonly used. To do that, we gotta look at the numbers.
Get talking about the numbers.
I personally don't feel like spelling all these numbers out, so I'll just show you my calculations on the screen. But in the 1880s, roughly 7.64% of boys were Johns and 6.54% of girls were Marys. By 2010, the percentage of babies with the top names, being Noah and Emma, had decreased to just under 1% for boys and just over 1% for girls. Why are the top names representing so few people? There can be many reasons behind this. First and foremost, America is a much more diverse place now, and different cultures bring different names. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Instead, I want to talk about what's happening to names in the modern day. If nearly 99% of parents are skipping the most popular names for their child, what are they coming up with instead? With more children to name than ever before, the internet has now infinitely increased the exposure that people have. It's much less common for people to purchase a book full of baby names. The internet has brought so many ways to find names, like historical databases, online articles, Tumblr. The famous figures that people used to take names from have also expanded past royalty and religion. But when the average parent has to start looking at names, they're subconsciously being influenced by crazy things. People take inspiration from celebrities nowadays, as if they understand the geopolitical and economic state of the world, but they do. I remember when the biggest naming scandal was when whatever celebrity named her kid Apple. God, take me back. Now, when the kid introduces herself, she'll say, "Hi, my name's Apple." Like the fruit? No, like the Charlie XCX song. So, what are some of the features of crazy modern names I'm talking about? Halt. There are some things that you cannot name your baby. Wait. I want you to guess. What's something you can't name your baby? If you guessed Adolf Hitler, you'd be right. But the complete list of what you can't name your kid is on the screen for your reference. Ugh, since the dream of my child's name being a microaggression is off the table, what are some modern naming conventions? Well, you could do what we just talked about. Name your kid after something traditional, or after someone, like a family member or famous figure. But this is falling out of favor. Namesakes, such as those who receive a junior designation, are becoming increasingly rare to see. There are other things you can name it. If you're drawn to a particular theme, well, look at all these names. That's so nice. If you have multiple kids, you could even stick to a theme. And that would be so cute. Aww. Aww. But if you want to name your kid after royalty, please don't name your child Princess. The only thing that should be named Princess is my uncle's pit bull.
Hey, how ya?
To anyone named Princess, it's not personal. I apologize and I love you. But speaking of pit bulls, I want to bring up something else. Pet names. I know that right now we're talking about baby names. Please do not give your dog a human name. Sometimes it's really freaking weird. Back to kids. You could even pick a traditional name, but use a unique spelling. There are lots of names that can be written in different ways. Let's think about it like this. If you're at a party, and you turn around to the group of people and you call out the name, Caitlin. Theoretically, the following people will turn around at the same time. The Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, Caitlin Clark, the basketball player, Caitlin Kierman, my cousin, Caitlin Ohashi, the UCLA gymnast, Caitlin Carter, Miley Cyrus's ex, and Catherine of Aragon. That's a crazy blunt rotation. But if you don't care for any of those options, you can also just say F it and do something completely new. You could go all in on the creative spelling, ensuring that your child's unique name is safeguarded from the shackles of conformity. Or you can pick a combination or invented name, which is just a mashup of two existing names.
Huh?
My favorite example of this is Renesmee. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. This is taken from Renee and Esme. The most common suffixes for boy combination names are son, ton, and den, and for girls, Lynn and Lee. Your imagination can go crazy with all of the name combinations you can make. Jokes aside, I've seen both unique spellings and combination names executed really well. And to give credit where credit's due, that unique spelling can sometimes help a child, and later adult, positively stand out. Not that we're min-maxing baby names here, but do you think that Billie Eilish or Troye Sivan would have been as popular as they are now if their names were just Billy and Troy? Billy and Troy, who the f*** are they? Truckers in Ohio? You see, but that's the kicker. Standing out. What all these conventions have in common is that most of them are just trying to reinvent the wheel. Despite the numerous existing names that would give your child uniqueness and acceptance, parents are instead just going the unhinged route. They're making up names that are bold and brash, when in all honesty, they just belong in the trash. But there are some parents who just don't care. They'd much rather cling to the desperation that maybe one day their child will be someone, and they want to give a famous-sounding stage name to match. And I'm not dumb. Obviously, a distinct name helps in that industry. Think of all the celebrities you know whose name is Chris, compared to all the celebrities you know who are named Zendaya or Madonna. But the sad reality is we live in a difficult freaking world. Chances are, little Lindley Densington aren't going to be famous. And if they do, with a name like that, they might just write a really special book about you. This non-famous child might end up performing worse in life than they would have with a different name, due to social pressure, stigma, and maybe even hiring discrimination. And what sucks about a lot of these names, they just come across as dumb. English is a language that has wiggle room when it comes to phonetics. Some words give the leeway to change spellings and keep pronunciations, but some people are just reading a different language. Hey, I'm the babysitter. Nice to meet you. Oh, hi there. Let me go grab the kiddos. Lusty, Carpy, Lanky, come over here. What the? Meet our children. Lusitania, Carpathia, and Lancastria. Oh, wow. Such unique names. But wait a second, aren't those the ships that sunk on the Cunard line? Yeah. We just wanted them to stand out in the maritime engineering industry. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Sorry, before you guys go, can you just write their names down on this form, just for documentation? Oh yeah, no problem. Oh my god. Oh, and you have a dog. Yeah. What's his name? Max. Why would a parent do this to their children? Well, part of it is narcissism often carries a heavy and negative connotation. It's closely associated with narcissistic personality disorder, a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. To be clear, that's not what this section is addressing. Instead, in the context of baby names, narcissism appears far more subtly. A parent typically exhibits narcissism through projecting their identity onto their children while seeking social recognition. This parent wants to show the world that they're intelligent, interesting, or creative, but they can't do so without being ostracized by others. This means that they can't come up with an alien name, nor can they go with anything remotely near the top 10 names. Neither of these options convey elitism or signal personality traits to others. So, what can a big egoed parent do? Well, they can Frankenstein a name together using alternative phonetics and spellings, and be different. A far more memorable child, and much more interesting than they originally were. Even if the child isn't particularly intelligent or talented, they'll be remembered by their name, which is something that you, the parent, picked. This creates a really damaging seesaw between conformity and individualism, while placing the parent at the center, easily able to manipulate both sides. Every time the parent introduces their child, they can seem important by correcting spellings and pronunciations. By enforcing their child's specialness, they can feel validated in their own. But in reality, mommy won't always be there to take pride in this core aspect of a child's identity. The child's going to grow up and become an adult. They're going to grow real tired real quick of having to pull out a linguistics textbook to explain how to spell their name. That's the nature of the parent's narcissism. Rather than picking a name that connects a child to other aspects of their identity, the parent picks a name that prioritizes uniqueness above all. But a child isn't just an accessory for parents to flaunt around. Parents often disregard the fact that kids are conscious, distinct individuals, long before they become adults. Just as a child deserves food, water, and shelter, they also deserve a loving name that will help them as they navigate society with dignity. After all, if every child was named with the intention of being different, is anyone different at all? Everyone's desperately clawing to be unique. And does uniqueness even exist? I guess you could say.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
There is another side to this, though. Sometimes a parent who desires a unique name isn't coming from an evil heart. They might just want what they think is best for their kid, which just happens to line up with the cultural shift to individuality. Sometimes people just like the way names sound. They think it sounds pretty. And sometimes the names people found stunning as children just don't hold up in the modern day. For example, I had a friend growing up. She loved the name Malaria. She thought it sounded so nice and beautiful. I don't know if she understood the implications. We were probably like 8. As of right now, my friend has 0 children. Hopefully it stays that way. Otherwise you might have malaria come over to your house for a play date. And I don't want to sound like a boomer saying, grrr, everyone should have the same names. It's not that at all. It's just that a child growing up under the pressure of their parents can struggle a lot in life. They can either build resentment, or they could bite the hook when mommy says that they're a little miracle. I'm talking Matilda the musical style. But where does that leave us? Are we stuck in a loop where normal desires unique and unique desires normal? Ultimately, it's a growing rift between people who want to go about their daily lives trying to conform to society and a group that wants to stand out. This leads to regionality exudes the differences in baby naming conventions, just as it stiffens other cultural differences. In America, it's very clear to see how the everyday lives of people vary across the country, especially among areas with different education levels and incomes. And the shift to individualism manifests differently in different regions. Regionality also influences politics, upon which a lot of data has been collected regarding baby names. Presidential names of both parties' candidates increase in popularity during their respective terms. This applies to both first names and last names of presidential candidates. But more than just candidates, a parent's political affiliation also impacts what they name their children. Going back to our example, through the spellings of the name Caitlin, the differences in traditionality between liberal and conservative names is present. Caitlin, according to name clouds, is used by liberal parents in over 98% of cases, while Caitlin is virtually 100% conservative. These names are identical in sound, but each spelling attracts a different type of parent. While this is a much deeper conversation than the scope of this video, we can begin to analyze some of the reasons why this might be. Conservative mothers tend to start families much younger, and as a result, have children earlier in their lives. This can skew the name that a 25-year-old versus a 35-year-old mom thinks is cool. Conservative families also have more children, which require more differentiable names. Simply put, a family in Boston, Massachusetts is going to live a lot differently than a family in Vidor, Texas. But let's look at the subject with more perspective. Many times, parents in rural and lower-income areas aren't expecting their child to leave their hometown, much less go to a large city. Not only is this opportunity rarely financially possible, but it's also not desirable for people who have lived in the same town for generations. So a name is given to a child that'll help them thrive in their social circle, whether that means Caitlin in Massachusetts or Caitlin in Texas. An example of a group who reflects a lot of the ideas we've been discussing are Mormons in Utah. I will preface this section by saying I am not Mormon. Therefore, I am not speaking from experience. What I will say is that I've known several Mormon people in my life, and I consume Alyssa Grenfeld videos like they're freaking M&Ms. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Okay? Okay. Mormons are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS for short, settled in the Greater Salt Lake City region in the late 1840s. More than 100 years later, according to the church's figures, the Mormon population in Utah peaks at 77% in 1990. How legit are these numbers? I do not know, especially when it comes to reporting religious participation. But the moral of the statistic is that Utah has the largest concentration of Mormons in the world. Through their beliefs, large families in Mormon communities are very common. And, for reasons I choose not to cover too deeply in this video, many young Mormon mothers have really high social media presences. Influencers, family vloggers, mom talkers, a Real Housewives spinoff, whatever it might be. There's a lot of content being made by this group. Combine having big families with posting everything online, now you have an Ouroboros of baby naming and family content. Mormon names are very distinct, which we can begin to understand with Jennifer Mansfield of the University of Utah's analysis. It's Raylan with a W, Distinctive Mormon Naming Practices. I've actually already taken information from this source earlier, in the Names of the Modern Day section, particularly the prevalence of combination names and creatively spelled ones. But, in the context of the Mormon community, names inspired by the Book of Mormon and other religious texts exist as well. But when one thinks of Mormon names, those of influencers' children come to mind. Many of these moms are young, which we've established can change the names they'd give their children compared to if they were older. Having a larger amount of kids also increases the need for a name to stand out. If you have 5 kids, and your 3 friends also have 5 kids, well, that's 20 little bundles of sunshine you have running around. Sometimes, in a situation like that, an uncommon name with a unique spelling is the only way to cut it. This also applies to families and extended families, who typically have lots of aunts, cousins, and uncles as well. And if a name exhibits enough patterns, it can be easily identified as a Mormon name, which can keep people within their communities, for better or for worse. Lots of the stay-at-home Mormon moms who vlog are entrenched in social media algorithms. If they're looking at their family as a business venture, which it kind of is, then having an uber-unique name that no one else has is practically free marketing. It's like a username that just feeds traffic to your channel through search engine optimization. Nobody is going to be stealing this name as part of their Instagram handle because nobody else besides this kid has ever had that name before. And if an average parent sees something on social media, it'll gain more and more exposure, and more people will be inspired to follow suit, therefore starting a trend. All in all, individualism sparks this phenomenon too. But social media is known to take things super far. Too far, in some cases. And I want to look at "Hey, you hypocritical wench," you might say. "How dare you provide insight and empathy to people who give their kid ass names, and now you're gonna make fun of them?" And to that, I have to say, maybe. If the names of your gremlin gang sound like
Oopie Goopy, General Munchkin Man, Lil Jim Bob, and worst of all, Larry.
Yeah, bro, I'm gonna have a problem with it. With that, let's venture to r/tragedy. Or as I will be saying, r/tragedy. Clocking in at 644,000 members strong and oh wait, Would you look at that? Would you take a look-see at who's the icon? My perfectly circular writing, with absolutely no tangents or logical points, strikes again. McKinley Hatch, or Chalkboard Mom, is the icon for r/tragedy. She runs the blog Mommy's Little Sunshine and has done a bunch of these little board posts showing her naming process. This picture from 2012 is so old, though, that Lakin, pronounced Lakin, but later changed to perfect the phonetics, is now 13. Anyways, that's who she is and how she became the face of the tragedies. But as for the actual subreddit content, this is bad. I mean, like, federal form NC-100 bad. Let's start here. Our beautiful daughter, due September 4th. Heart emoji, heart emoji, heart emoji. Fecalin, honoring her grandparents, Fernando, Cameron, and Lynn, who are important parts of my husband and my lives. First of all, this video is probably being posted somewhere around this, so Fecalin, wherever the hell you are out there, happy birthday, girl. But my poor baby child, I am so sorry. Oh my god. I want to see what the comments have to say. Her brother's named after the important men in the family. Constantine, Timothy, and Peyton. His name is Constipatin. Yeah, that joke backs up. Okay, next one. It's a baby shower announcement. Aw, how cute.
Aww.
In honor of Chernobyl Hope. The elephant is vile. I'm sure Chernobyl and malaria are best freaking friends, bro. Damn. She should join the local soccer club. I've heard she's got quite a foot on her. Oh my gosh. Cherny, girl, there are colleges that have really good nuclear engineering programs. I'm sure they would love to have you. Ugh, Cherny is such a bad nickname. I'm saying Cherny girl, that just sucks. On that note, let's look at the next post. First, I want to amend the title of this post. Mythical name pull at Build-A-Bear. What an opener. Okay, so it looks like OP works at Build-A-Bear. If you've never been to a Build-A-Bear, they do a really special naming ceremony for the child and for the stuffed animal that they get. It's actually really sweet. So it looks like OP has a customer, a girl, approximately 5. Tell her name is Callie. In the words of OP, then her mom notices. She was wandering around the store and rudely says to me, "It's Callie girl." I apologize and get another name tag. I ask her how she spells the name. Kaleigh. Okay, now we put the foot on the pedal to bring our friend to light. I said it's Callie girl. It dawns on me. She isn't rudely calling me a girl. The full name of this child is Callie girl, as in California girls. I apologize and ask her how to spell it in full. She confirms my horrors. Callie girl is no longer smiling. Wherever you are, Callie girl, I know you're braver than the Marines. This is so sad. I feel like it's peak narcissism on the mother's behalf. Let's venture a bit off the beaten path to r/name nerds. What can we see on there? I have been asked to give feedback on Jungkook as a name for a white American baby. And that's enough. Back to r/tragedy. Okay. Last but not least, the most popular post on the subreddit of all time. The name that OP laughed at her sister for and got uninvited to the baby shower. Here it is. Ray Farty. That gender reveal party is going to be explosive. I'm loving the award that was given to this, yes. Wow. I think it's time to wrap things up. You know me, I'm a doer. I like getting the job done. So, where do we go from here? I guess don't have kids, and if you do, don't name them dumb shit. And that's because if their classmates don't bully them, the internet will. Please, if you're planning on putting some buns in the oven, or adopting some buns from the bakery and legally changing their name, think twice about the name you're giving them. Look past their happy, chubby little baby hands and their smeared diapers, and think about what they'll look like when they're at their first job interview, or when they're getting proposed to by their partner. or they're taking a mugshot. If you're trying out a name, something the internet suggests doing is trying it out at a coffee shop or at a restaurant. If you like the way it sounds when a barista calls it out, then maybe it's the name for you. But whatever you do, don't name your kid Ray Farty. Good God.